Joining me today for this episode of Side Hustle Growth Podcast is Ada Udeogu. I'm hoping I got that right because it's very important I pronounce people's names right.
Yeah,
Ada yay me! Ada
I
is
know,
a
right?
personal branding coach, and today she's going to be chatting with me about building your personal brand as a side hustler. So you're still at the 9 to 5, you're running a side hustle, and you're trying to figure out your personal brand. But before we get into it, I must give Ada a moment to shine and tell us more about yourself, anything you'd like us to know. And thank you so much for being here with me today. Take it away.
Yay! Thank you so much, CJ. I've been looking forward to this session since we got it booked in, and I'm really excited to be here. My name is Ada, just like CJ said, and I'm a personal branding coach on LinkedIn. So what I do is I help women to gain clarity with purpose, and then we build a personal brand and business around the purpose, and then we take it on for this. So that is why building a side hustle is like super important, because I've worked with clients who are doing, they're on a 9 to 5
Mm.
and they want to switch. So we just kind of get on building that personal brand that gives them the leverage to switch from the 9 to 5 and start on, on their business on whatever they build on social media.
Mhm.
I would say I'm a LinkedIn growth strategist. So I help people build their brands on LinkedIn, and it's super exciting. I don't really like to toot my horn, but hey, I know I'm
Just
super
toot
good
it.
at what I do.
Please
And
toot it.
I love to laugh, and I've got 4 kids, me. So some of the things I talk about is how, having children and still building a brand online, and helping ladies just like I do with women empowerment. And hey, you've got a voice. The world needs to hear your voice, the world needs to hear your story, and all that encouragement, and breaking off of limiting beliefs, fears. These are some of the things I do, and I'm super excited about it. And I have my own story to share, hopefully, during this session. So
Yes.
that is
Okay. Okay. So
mostly
you're gonna sprinkle your story throughout our
it.
conversation.
Yes,
Got
I'd
it.
love to do
Got it.
that.
Got it. Because we connected on LinkedIn.
Yes,
And I see you lighting up my feed all the time, sharing your personal branding tips, it almost seems like you're always giving stuff away. I've attended your sessions. I know there's a lot around building a personal brand and really
yes,
what I want to there I have a couple questions. I like to ask the question of the because you've mentioned that you have side hustle clients who are trying to build their brand so that they can
yes.
become full time. What's your story? What's your journey? Did you have a 9 to 5 to full time entrepreneur story or journey that you'd like to share with us? What has yours been
Okay,
like?
great. So, my story is broken into 2 parts, and like I always say, it really isn't something that's fully baked. But hey, I have a story to share.
Mhm.
Say early last year, so 2023, I was working a job, a call center job, and it was super hectic. With 4 kids, it was draining. I was heading towards depression, because like it was
Mhm.
so bad for my mental health. And I remember 3 months into the job, I was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I didn't have a lifeline. I had no side hustle. I had nothing. Right. And
Mhm.
I was like, I just can't do this anymore, because I was losing it. On Sunday night, I couldn't breathe, because I'm like, I have to go back in on a Monday. And when I get into work on Monday, I'll be all about checking for, times when I can book off, just so that I don't have to come to work on them days. So
Mhm.
I left and I became a support worker here in the UK. So I'll pick up shifts and I'll go to work, but that wasn't really my rodeo. That wasn't really my style. So I was like, I need to figure something out. I started learning business analysis. I dabbled into that up until, because I'm a Christian, right?
Mhm.
I kept praying about it, and I'm like, God, what am I going to do? And he said, go to LinkedIn and build your brand. So I said,
Okay.
okay, I'm going to go to LinkedIn and build my brand as a thought leader in the branding and marketing field, right? So I went on LinkedIn and I'm like, made a couple of posts with ChatGPT, and it was horrible. And I'm like, these LinkedIn guys have got no love. Like, why would you guys even try to give me one like or something? So I ran away from LinkedIn. And then I came back again and I became like super serious. And this was like October 20th. I remember the day so much, because that day changed my life. And
Mhm.
I met a couple of people. There was this lovely gentleman. He pointed me in the right direction, and I started building my personal brand. And I started helping people build theirs as well. right? That was when I started creating something for myself. Fast forward to this year, February, I'm like, you know what? I dropped the shifts that I used to pick and I focus solely on my personal brand building. And it has been excellent because it gives me the money I was making from the shifts I was picking. And now I have the opportunity to like give my whole time and focus to my business and really build it to what I want it to be. So I would say I have like kind of like a side hustle story, but like, bits and pieces of that. But
Mm,
I am in a very good place now. Mentally, I get to spend all that time with my children and I get to build something for myself and help other women do the same because that is something that most women struggle with, that time freedom and the financial freedom because they want to spend their time doing what they want to do, mostly with their kids. And they
mm.
also want, to be able to earn. So being able to help women do what I wanted somebody to be able to help me do is like, is a dream come true. So I'm super excited about that.
Congrats. Wow, what a journey. And you know what? As you mentioned that you went to LinkedIn, you tried a couple things, and it's like, okay, this isn't working, but then you came back. One of the first questions I wanted to ask, and I feel like we should touch on, is just I feel like branding and there's layers to it, right? Like somebody can
Yes.
hear branding, and I just had a guest on at the start of this year, and she does branding, but it's website design. Like when you're thinking about personal branding, what must they know to be able to be successful at it?
Great. So for me and the way my program runs, the first thing I want everybody to know about personal branding is self-awareness. So we're used to the whole visual branding. Oh, I want to brand myself. I want to build my brand. And everybody's mind is already going to, oh, what kind of clothes are you going to wear for your brand photo shoot? What
Mm,
kind of logo are you going to create for your brand? Right? What kind of website are you going to create? What are the brand colors you're going to choose? But those bits come later the way I see it. I believe that for you to be able to build a personal brand, you need to know the person, right?
mm,
I've come across a lot of people and I find that they don't know themselves. They know the person that people have described for them, right? So they've bought this label, they've bought this belief that other people have about who they are, but they don't actually know who they are. And the next part after that is purpose clarity. When you discover yourself, you need to know, why am I on the earth? What am I on earth to do? Right? When you find yourself fulfilling purpose, you find that you never run out of steam. It's something that you're so excited to do. You just wake up every day, you're like, yeah, I get to do this, right? Because the
mhm.
purpose and the passion fuels you from the inside. You don't need external motivation, right? And that is what I want every woman I come in contact with to enjoy. That feeling of, I'm really doing something, like I'm making an impact on the earth, on the world, right? And my voice is being heard. And generations after me will still benefit from this value that I've been able to give to my world. So that is the first stage to personal branding, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I can tell like your passion about it. And that's why I asked the question because I feel like you hear personal brand and personal branding and people automatically go to, well, I have this business and I need people to know about the business and the business and the business and the business, but the word personal is in there,
Exactly.
right? So it means it's
Yeah.
about me. It's when someone
Yeah.
is building their personal brand while they're still at their 9 to 5, but they have this side hustle that they want to grow or they want to turn it into elevate it into a thriving business. And let's say,
Yes.
for example, I'm talking to one of my clients and they're like, yeah, CJ, let's talk branding. Like, are there steps you mentioned? There's self-awareness, there's purpose and clarity, and it's also about really telling your story. It
Mhm.
sounds like there's almost like no limit, if you will, when it comes to really discovering your
Yeah.
personal brand. Is there like a step by step? Is there a guide to things? Is there something that you do this first and then this comes afterwards and here's step
Yeah.
3, or is it just based on the person? Is it customizable?
Okay, so what I would say though is that it depends on the coach, to be
Mhm,
honest, right?
mhm,
I've seen people's programs and I see that sometimes you might go to a coach that the message you get might be about making, say, $15,000 every month. That might be how they get you to sign up for their course, and then they build your brand behind it, right? But my goal is on the clarity side of things, right?
okay.
So I'm all about the clarity for your life and the business you want to build, because I believe that if you make a mistake, right? To correct that would be quite difficult. What I'm saying is, let's say I have a friend that has a fashion business, right? And I'm like, you know what? We could do, I could do that as well, like that would work for me. And then they come to me and they're like, oh, I want to start up a fashion business. Do you want to help me do that on LinkedIn, or do you want to help me do that on Instagram, right? I would have to pause you there and then go and start from the beginning. Reason being that you might be wanting to start up a business or start up a side hustle for the wrong reasons.
Mm.
And if I help you by branding that for you, I am helping you to make a mistake. So I just help you go back to the beginning. So for me, I have step by step. I actually follow a 7-step process for my personal branding. We start with self discovery. So you have to really know yourself, like we're talking about your values, your strengths, all that audit that really gets you to really understand who am I. You discover your ikigai. I've had
Yeah.
classes and I've been like, do you know your ikigai? And someone's like, wait, what's ikigai? And I'm like, exactly. So you're in the right class, right? So we do that self-discovery module first. Then we go into purpose clarity, because you really need to understand, what exactly am I doing? Who am I
Mm.
doing it for? Right? Why am I even doing that in the first place? That awareness, that clarity is what I always want my clients to have at every moment, to be able to be asked certain questions and you have the answer right at the tip of your fingers, right? Because and you're connected. Reason being that entrepreneurship isn't really all it's cut out to be. It's not something, beautiful and just like so special that once you
I
get
know,
in,
unicorns and daisies. Yeah, right.
we're not plucking money off the tree and just saying, hey, buy my product. And someone's like, yes, I will definitely do that. So there are times when it's going to be super tasking. And that is when you need to connect to your why. Why am I really doing this? Right. So we do the purpose clarity stage. Then we do your visual branding on LinkedIn. So that's where we begin to, discover what is your brand message, your brand identity. We work on the visuals, right? We work on the brand positioning. Then afterwards, we get into community building, because something I've seen is that some people have this brand, but there's not community around it because they've not been quite concerned with having that relationship. So that's where we talk about networking, right? And engagement, really getting into building that community, getting in contact with people. And then after that, we work on your mind resetting. That's what I call it, mind resetting, because you might have limiting beliefs that's stopping you from actually discovering yourself and being this person that you're supposed to be. Then afterwards, we work on the offer creation. So what are you offering? What is that solution that you've realized that you've got on the inside that you can offer to somebody else to solve their problems, right? So we work on that. And then I have some bonus modules, like bonus steps, like productivity and time management, where we actually work on, like, things like procrastination and how to really get rid of that.
Because when I think about somebody excelling at guiding people through a personal brand, and knowing that, even as I've built my personal brand and have done it over the years, and still feeling like I'm fine tuning it, still feeling like, especially that piece about like building community, I feel networking, building community, I think people neglect that part
True,
too. Like they
true.
go, I have this thing and people need to buy it. And it's like, okay, but there's an in between piece there as well. We'll go with LinkedIn.
Yes.
What do you see someone doing on LinkedIn? You're like, oh, they haven't figured out their personal brand, but they think they have.
Oh, I'll say one of the things that I see usually comes up with content. Okay, so I'll start with the basic. The first time I see somebody's profile, I already know if they've got it figured out or not. Because for somebody who's got it figured out, the banner and the
Mm,
headline goes
mm,
straight to the point. It's like so clear. You
okay.
already know what they offer, who they offer it to, right? And sometimes you can even tell why they're doing it, right? But for somebody who's still trying to figure that bit out, you see they focus more on being clever. They want to be funny, or they want to sound cool, which then confuses you because you're like, wait, what exactly are they doing? Right? You're not sure. It's funny, right? You might laugh, but you're not now clear on what exactly they're offering. So that is one place I would say people make mistakes on LinkedIn. Another bit will be in the content. Some people think that LinkedIn is all about sales, right? So
Mm,
they're probably coming from a Facebook background and they're coming and they're just like, hey, I have this course. Hey, I have this class. Hey, you want to book my class? Hey, you want to book my training? Hey, you want to be on my mentorship? But they forget the know, like, and trust factor. Why would I join that when I don't know you? Obviously, I don't like you. And then I don't trust you because them two have gone before. I don't know you and I don't like you. And then it feels like you're pressuring me to do something I don't want to do because you keep producing this kind of content. So what people do is they skip your post. And then you're wondering, oh, why am I not getting engagement? Oh, my brand is invisible on LinkedIn. These are some of the issues I find that people have. Another one would be community building. I
yeah.
can easily tell if you're all about community when I come on your page for the first time. You can see that in the comments, right? Some
Yeah.
people, when they respond to comments, it's not like they're not trying to build that relationship, like, hey, thank you, or I'm so glad you felt like this, or I'm so glad this was able to help. It's more like they're asking you questions to get you to to get you to buy what they're selling, if that makes any sense. So it's more
Okay.
like, maybe I make a post on clarity, and then somebody says, oh, I find I don't really have clarity, and they're like, so do you think that if you went on a coaching program for 3 months you gain more clarity, something like that? And you're like, okay, you could have easily like given them some tips right there in the comments, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly, that's my kind of person. Is like, how can I help you right now? Right now. That's how I see it. How can I help this person right now? I give you a couple of tips, and if you still feel you need more help, you can send me a DM, right? And then we can talk about either how I can still help you, maybe via a call, or if you would need something deeper and longer, which might need you to be on the program. So these are some of the
Mm,
major problems. Obviously, starting with clarity, not having purpose, because you can see somebody's headline on LinkedIn. They're a digital marketer, they're a branding strategist, they're a healthcare professional, and you're like, wait, what one are you, right? So you can already pick up them kind of vibes from somebody immediately. And there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of mistakes that I see people make. Sometimes I just send them a DM and I'm like, hey, you can fix this up. Like you can change this, and that would really help your brand. And other times I, maybe leave a comment or something of that nature, just to help as much as I can.
yeah. Yeah. And that's how you build community and the know like trust factor. And like, I mean, I see what you're doing on LinkedIn, and I always appreciate what you're doing. And I do see the others where it's very icky. I understand, especially for LinkedIn. It's a professional platform. People are
Yeah.
there to develop and to network, but it's networking, it's community building, it's building that trust. And some people do they do neglect that piece, and then they're wondering why things aren't hitting. If someone's listening right now, a woman, she's a 9 to 5er, she has a side hustle, and she's really determined to turn her side hustle into a thriving business. And it's just so many pieces. She's on the right track with building her personal brand.
So the thing about personal branding is that, like I say to most of my clients, LinkedIn is not a personal branding platform. LinkedIn
Hmm.
is a marketing platform. That's how I see it, right? Because when we come on LinkedIn, we design our storefront, so we can call that a website, your profile, right? LinkedIn, I believe that brands are being marketed, right? So the content marketing is where you create your content, you put it out there, and where people make that mistake is that they feel like the sales post should be something that they do very often, whereas that should be something that you do, say, once a week, because the rest of the content is like, telling people this is what my brand is about. This is why you should know me. This is why you should like me. This is why you should trust me. And this is what I can do for you. Because the truth is that we're very selfish individuals, to be honest. Everybody wants to know, what am I going to benefit from this? The lady that's listening to this podcast right now has a reason she's listening to it. She wants to benefit something from CJ's podcast. Or what is Ada going to say today about personal branding? And how can that benefit me as a person and in my journey? So, if you're on a personal branding journey, one thing you would need to know, to be sure that you're actually on the right track is, am I in line with my values? Because, like I said, we always start on my program with self-discovery, self-awareness, just connecting to your true self. So you're going to ask yourself, am I really in line with my values? If you don't know your values, trust me, you haven't started your branding journey. You really need to walk back and understand what are the 5 core values that I live my life by. If I say that my life is all about integrity and I wanted to start a business that might put that into question, you see that you're not living in line with your values. Your business is not in line with your values. This is what it's gonna cost, right? When your business or your side hustle rubs wrongly with the center or the core of your being as a person, you become agitated. Before long, you become anxious because who you are as a person doesn't really change. The core of you doesn't really change. So what needs to change is the outside, which is that business, right? So if you want to know, the second thing that you need to know is how clear are you on what you provide. So that solution, how clear are you on it? Number two, how clear are you on your ideal client? Have you created an ideal client profile, right? Is it really detailed? Has it got the demographics bit? Has it got the psychographics bit on it? Three, I think. you want to you want to ask yourself, right? Do people know you for what you do? Now, the reason for this is because sometimes you might think, oh, okay, they know I'm a personal branding strategist. And when you ask somebody, you say, oh, do you know what I do? And they're like, are you, do you work? Once there's that confusion, just know that, you're not clear. You've not passed the
Mm.
right message across. People aren't sure yet. You haven't like staked your claim. You haven't positioned your brand. And the thing about personal branding is we really need to get it out of our heads, that it's just about the visuals. No, it goes a lot into like human psychology, right? It goes into behaviors and patterns. There's a lot to personal branding, and I really enjoy it because obviously I love psychology. But when you want to know that your brand is really on the right track, you need to check all these boxes and just see, how do you measure up, to all these things. And if you don't measure very high, that's not a problem. Just know that these are the areas that you need to do more work in terms of like branding. I usually do a value audit for my clients. So like when you join me and we're working on your the self-discovery part, I would ask you your 5 core values. And then when you write them down, right, I would ask you to go and ask 5 of your closest family and friends on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. What would
Mhm.
you grade me for this value? So let's say creativity. That's one of my core values. What would you grade me for creativity? And if they said 3, 4, 5, 6, then you know that there's a gap because you want to be at a 10, right? So there's a gap for you to
Yeah.
cover. And you would want to know, why did you grade me at 3? Right? They'll say, oh, because I don't really see you do like a lot of creative stuff. Now, I made a post about this on LinkedIn. And what it shows is that yes, people's opinions shouldn't really, carve your life out.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, but it actually does matter in terms of, am I really, on the right track? So you want to also do all them kind of like mini audits just to see where you stack up. And
Mm.
finally, I would advise get yourself a coach, because you might try to like, tick some boxes, but then you don't know that some of these other boxes exist, and you're like, oh god, this is so draining, it's so overwhelming. But hey, somebody else has got that roadmap and can tailor it to your own journey. So why not hop on that train and just like, get it sorted like fast.
Okay. You know what? And you know what? That's a beautiful segue because I was going to ask you, like, what do you have coming up, or what should people be looking out for from Ada, or should they just hire you as a personal branding coach? What do you have coming up for us?
So I just released my coaching program, the 7 step coaching program I spoke about. I just
Mhm.
released that, and that is really good because it's already getting like a lot of traction. And I would say that any lady who wants to like, really build that side hustle into a proper business on social media, online, really be connected to your purpose, have that clarity, I would say send me a DM on LinkedIn, or you can follow, my LinkedIn profile, Ada Udeogu, and just get to know what I talk about better. And then send me that
Good.
DM.
If you're trying to build your personal brand, especially on LinkedIn, Ada is the go to for that. Or before I absolutely let you go, do you have a nugget to share with us today?
Yes, I do. So my dad would always say, shoot for the moon. And at least if you don't get to the moon, right, you fall among the stars. And that is something that I really live my life, around, because one of my core values, we've been talking about values, is ambition and audacity. Because
Mhm.
I refuse to,
Mm,
live within the status quo. I'm a disruptor. Why should we? I question
mm,
everything. And that boils down to the self awareness as well. Why should I have to do this? Right? I come from a society where, there's so many rules for women and you can't do this and you can't do that, and just being able to question that. Why, why should I have them limiting beliefs? Why can't I have a business that's worth
yeah,
billions, right? Why can't I do this, and just have that big dream, dare to dream as big as possible. That's what I'll say to any woman listening to this podcast right now. Dream so big that your dream scares you. And even if you don't get to that massive, dream, you definitely land among the stars, right? So you
yeah.
definitely be above the earth.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Ada, for being here, sharing your wisdom and your passion for personal branding with us today. I'm sure the listeners, the viewers, anyone tuning in, you've left them with, yes, some great nuggets, but also a lot to think about, a lot to consider when
Yeah.
it comes to their personal brand, building a personal brand while still at their 9 to 5, and they can just reach out to you. But I will let you go for now, and I will see you on LinkedIn, my girl.
Yay. Thank you so much, CJ. Thank you so much.